In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to create sectional details from an existing cross-section. So from the building complete file, we can go to cross-section AA, and you can see we already have a cross-section. We're going to use this cross-section to, I guess, blow up or enlarge an area. So we're going to look at a deck detail and the deck connection detail. So we're just going to learn how we can use existing entities or drawings to create details from them. So if we go back to layout, this is the last tutorial we did, which is the footing details. So if we go to the next page, which is the sectional details, I've already put some details on this page just to make them fit, but the next tutorial will show you how I put these on there, or the methodology of using a DWG in layout. So that being said, if we go back to the section AA page, which is page number 5, I'm going to go to it on the right hand side, click on sheet 5. You can see I've grabbed that detail, and if I click on the model, it's now selected that SketchUp model. I can now right click and copy, then go forward, or you can click straight to sectional details, and I can right click and paste. So now that that's pasted onto the sheet, we need to change the scale, because at the moment, if we look at the SketchUp model dialog, make sure the view tab is active, it's set to 1 to 50. The scale we want is 1 to 10. So if we drop down, we can click on 1 to 10, and it might disappear because the view got so big or the model got too big. So if we now scroll down, just drag it out, you can see we're trying to focus on the decking detail, and then if I drag that across like so, and then we just need to pull the top down as well. So you can see here that it doesn't fit on the sheet. So we have a bit more space where we could chop that off, and we can pull that along a little bit. But what we're wanting to do is we want to cut out a section of the model. So if I was to right click on this model view, I can select copy, and then I can do this. So I can drag this one back until it cuts it till about there. Then I can right click and paste. It's going to put an exact replica over top of it. And then I can cut this one the other way. So I'm trimming it back so we only have a few bits of it. Then if I drag it back to the right, holding shift, it will lock it in that axis. So the idea is that you've got the same view in SketchUp, the same cross-sectional view, but in layout we're just trimming it back so we can fit it on the sheet because we don't need the inside information. So next what we could do, for example, is we could create a scale drawing. So any elements that you add to the drawing, we can draw them at scale. So if I click on the line tool and go to make a scale drawing, I'm going to select 1 to 10. And I'm just going to trace over this object here because I want to borrow it. And see, it's now one object. So with the line tool, I just traced over it. Then I can go and place that on top of there, and I can hold Control and copy it, and then I can rotate it upwards. And if you want, you can put the little center point on an edge, and then make sure it locks on. And then I can copy that, holding Shift, copy, holding Shift, so Control and Shift. Okay, so now we have shown where the cuts were taken on the cross section. And we can move this one out of the way a little bit. Good. Then we can go and grab another another detail or another note from somewhere else, like the Windows schedule. I just want to grab that detail, because if I go forward, I'm just going to right click and paste it, and then I can give it a name. And this first one is the deck detail. Oops, do it again. And then we'll just backtrack on that. And then the next one is the deck connection detail. Okay, so if I select that, I can drag that out a little bit longer. If I select that line, I can drag that out a bit longer. Okay, so the scale is 1 to 10, and also 1 to 10. Great. So then all we now need to do is label up our text. So if you refer back to the cross-section tutorial, you'll see how we did the labeling of the cross-section. So I'm just going to pause it while I add in all the text, and then you can carry on with your detailing. So I've finished adding all the text. Some final things you could do, for example, is you can see my insulation isn't the greatest. So for example, I could go back to my scale drawing, which is the cut lines, double click on those, so I'm in a scale drawing, get the rectangle tool, and then I could start a rectangle from up here and draw it to the bottom over here. And I might make it go a little bit bigger, because then I could select the rectangle and just drag it up until it meets there, and just make sure it all lines up. Okay, so after doing that, I could go to shape style, and I could reduce the line width a bit, so I could make that maybe like 0.2, just so it's not so thick. Then click on pattern fill, and also fill. Then I could choose just a different tonal pattern if I wanted to, just to maybe make it look like some other type of insulation. So I'll just select it, and also I can change the rotation of it so it's round, and I can maybe just change the scale to 0.5. So you can see it's a little bit finer, and it looks a lot nicer now. So that's just a little tutorial on how you can use an existing cross-section to cut it up into pieces, but still have it linked to the original SketchUp file, which is our cross-section here. So you have a dynamic link between the model and layout.